Testing. Do I have to lean in? I have to lean in. Testing, testing. Is this picking up okay? Is this picking up okay? Or do I? Is this? Don't get that close. Okay. Is this good? Okay. So for the ad hoc members, you'll be introduced by which representation you are for the community. You'll stand up and share what your expectations are for this project. You have 1 minute to share your expectations. You'll have a mic, making sure that you address that to the public as well as the people who are participating virtually on that camera. Just some of what you may have already.
Welcome to Stockton.
Konnichiwa. Welcome to Stockton.
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 Bienvenidos a Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton.
Mabuhay. Welcome to Stockton.
안녕하세요. Welcome to Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton.
Chào mừng bạn đến với Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton.
All right. Can you hear me okay? All right, and are we live? We're ready to go? All right, members of the public, if you want to come in, grab a seat, you're welcome to sit wherever you want to. We have members, our ad hoc members and our planning team situated. This is the fun part that I get to do. It brings me back to high school, student government. All right. Get excited. Calling this meeting to order. This is the first of 4 public meetings for the Miracle Mile ad hoc work group. These meetings are designed to gather feedback and share information about the Miracle Mile initiative with the public. First things first, before we go into some housekeeping, want to remind everyone why we are here and remind everyone that everyone is here for the same purpose, to make the Miracle Mile better. So, with that being said, when we do have comments and discussion, be it for the charter or be it when we get to open discussion, ask that we respect one another, look around, and recognize that everyone here is to try to make the Miracle Mile better. So, ask that we stay on topic, ask that we respect one another, and just to help with that, we have this trusty clock to keep all of us moving forward and on time. It shows 0 right now. So when it gets to comments and discussion, we will set that to keep everyone focused. There will not be any formal or major decisions at this meeting, so this is just for open discussion about the overall project. And like I said, we'll try to stay on topic, and we will do our best to adjourn this meeting as quickly and on time as possible, while also honoring and recognizing everyone's voices in the room. So, my name is Giuseppe Nespoli, or Joey. I am with Value Management Strategies, and myself, as well as Linda Lee, were brought on by Caltrans to serve in facilitating this part of the Miracle Mile initiative. I will hand it over to Linda.
Thanks, Joey. All right, hi everyone. Again, my name is Linda Lee, and I will be covering some housekeeping items before we dive into the agenda and activities for tonight. First and foremost, for Spanish translation for those members and participants here, we have Hilda Sousa, who will be supporting with that communication, and if you need any Spanish translation, please feel free to walk up to her and ask any questions you may have. Next, I'd like to cover the non-discrimination policy. Please hang tight as I read this. The California Department of Transportation, under Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, ensures no person in the United States shall, on the ground of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to the discrimination under any program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. Caltrans will make every effort to ensure non-discrimination in all of its services, programs, and activities, whether they are federally funded or not, and that services and benefits are fairly distributed to all people, regardless of race, color, or national origin. In addition, Caltrans will facilitate meaningful participation in the transportation planning process in a non-discriminatory manner. Related federal statutes, remedies, and state law further those protections to include sex, disability, religion, sexual orientation, and age. For more information or guidance on how to file a complaint or obtain more information regarding Title VI, please contact the Title VI branch manager at the information you see on this screen, and also following the webpage listed there. Next, I'd like to remind all of you that this is currently being live streamed through YouTube, so those participants who are joining virtually, you are welcome to comment throughout this evening on any of the activities and discussions that we have tonight. As you are sharing your comments, they will be shared in voice through the meeting here tonight. For additional resources and information on this project for the Stockton Miracle Mile, you can visit this website listed here or email any comments or questions to Stockton Miracle Mile at dot.ca.gov. Thank you.
All right. So in a moment, we will have some opening remarks for you. Then we will go into discussion and approval of the charter to actually formally begin the business at hand for this meeting. We will elect a chair and vice chair. Then we will have a presentation from Caltrans on active transportation, so some initial education looking at complete streets and what active transportation actually means and why this applies to Miracle Mile. Then we will have public comment period for general comments, questions, ideas, and then we will have closing remarks. And so there will actually be two opportunities for public comment. One will be after the charter to discuss the charter if there's any comments or questions from the public, and then also just in general with a public comment period after the presentation. So with that being said, I am going to hand it over to a Stockton native and invite Assemblymember Carlos Villapudua from Assembly District 13.
Bear with me. I didn't bring my glasses here today, but first of all, thank you all for being here today. This is exciting times for Stockton. And last year I was able to secure $20 million of state budget to revitalize the Miracle Mile. And that came from a lot of you, just from being out, listening to events. There's so many different groups on the mile, so it's a great thing because I got to hear what were the concerns, and I never even thought that I was going to be trying to get the funding. I was there because of stuff that has happened in our district, right? And to make sure that I was there to have an ear and to listen, and little by, that we not realize that we were going to try to figure out what we can do to improve the Miracle Mile. And a lot of you that are probably here know what I'm talking about. You guys grew up in the neighborhood. You guys, went to the different stores just like we did as growing up. And now we wanted to really try to figure out, how do we turn that corner? How do we make this mile the centerpiece of Stockton? So that's why we're here. This is a collaboration efforts between my office, the City of Stockton, Caltrans, San Joaquin Council of Governments, and before I have them stand up, let me acknowledge them. From Caltrans District Director Dennis Agar, Marlon Regisford, Sylvia Dyke, Anthony Presto, Skip Alum, Angela Madison, LeJune Smith, Kathy McOwen, Manuel Morales, Charles Carroll, Hilda Souza, Brenda Pals-Jones, Anu Geary, and the San Joaquin County Government's Executive Director Diane Nguyen, and then Ryan Nick Block, and the City Manager Harry Black is here, and then we also have Joe Nasepi, and then Jody how do we say that? Alamasi. All right. And then I have Linda Lee, and then I also have, with my office, is Israel Landa and Ben Cheever. To oversee this project, we decided that the form of an ad hoc work group represents the community. We received nearly 200 applicants from the community and carefully selected 21 to serve on the ad hoc work group. Thank you for participating and committing to the vital undertaking, and I say that because it's going to be a lot of work for sure. And if I could have you guys all stand up, for those who I just acknowledged, if you can please stand up and let's give them an applause. With that, public input will be critical to the success of the efforts. We also are asking all of you to participate in these public meetings. We look forward to hearing from all of you and learning all the priorities. At the end of this meeting tonight, I will be sharing a special announcements about the improvement of this project. And I just want to say thank you so much all for being here. I'm excited, you know, I'm excited, but I'm also nervous, right? Because, you know, this is an uptaking. This is a big project, but there's nothing, you know, nothing that is more important to all of us, and I don't say all of us here. And you guys are here because you guys want to see this Miracle Mile be the centerpiece. You know, how many times are we tired of, like, we hear people going to other towns? We're going to do it here. We're going to do it here in this mile. We're going to make this mile the best downtown in the state of California. And I visit many of them. So we're going to be on this for a while. And every year, I'm going to be asking for more and more and more money, right? And that's a commitment that I have to the city of Stockton, and I have a commitment to all of my community. So thank you all for being here today.
All right, as outlined by the charter, there are representatives of the community whom we will call on by roll and name that serve on the ad hoc work group. And as I call on them and acknowledge them, I'm going to ask you to stand up, and this is where the timer gets to get used. You will be invited to share for 1 minute your expectations of this project to the public. Before we do get into roll call, I just want to let everyone know that's participating virtually. There's issue with the chat function. We are working to get that resolved right now. So momentarily, we will hopefully have that chat function available for those that are participating virtually. But in the meantime, if you would like to submit comments, we do invite you to use the email address of Stockton Miracle Mile at dot.ca.gov. So let us acknowledge and begin our roll call of representatives on the ad hoc work group. First one, just to acknowledge, is representing the assembly member representing Miracle Mile is Assembly Member Carlos Villapudua.
Why I'm here? You're saying you want me to ask?
I mean, you can, sure. I won't set the timer for.
I'll just be really quick. I think all of you guys know what I just said earlier, that I was born and raised in Stockton. I grew up riding my bike down the mile. Sometimes we used to jump on top of the buildings, right? Go from one to the other, you know. But we were really good kids. I mean, I can go back. It'll tell me my age. But when Taco Charlie was around, you know, when we used to go get our ice cream, and I have just really fond memories because of my parents that brought me here. My sisters taking me to the movie theater. First time I saw The Exorcist was right there, right? I still don't forget that movie. But I love this community, and I know all of you do the same. And I just want it to be better, safer, a place for us to bring our kids to have the same experience that I did as a kid. I want our kids to grow up and have that same, and not just our kids, but our families. To be able to go over here and do shopping, if we want to go to the farmer's market, if we want to shut it down and have a street fair, you know, there's so much that we're missing out, and we're going to do. We're going to do that, and we're going to bring it here to the mile. So, again, those are my reasons why I'm so excited of being part of this committee.
All right, so representing residents of Miracle Mile within 5 miles, we have, first up is Chip Hanker.
Hi, I'm here. I just think the Miracle Mile can be so much more than it is right now. If we create a place that people feel safe to go to, students from UOP want to walk down there, the traffic is slowed down, bicyclists feel safe. I think we can create a destination that people in Stockton want to go to, and people outside of Stockton want to go to. And if we create that infrastructure now, business will want to be down there, and it'll be the premier place to go in Stockton. And I just am proud to be a part of that.
Another resident of Miracle Mile within 5 miles, we have Philip Herrera.
Good afternoon, Philip Herrera, born and raised in Stockton. I share the Assembly members' view about the potential of the Miracle Mile. My friends in downtown Danville, Pleasanton, here in School Street, far within our reach. It's always been a question of resources. I spent a career in public-private partnerships. I'm currently a consultant to the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. And I do believe that resources, if they're there with the right leadership, can make a huge impact on making things like the Miracle Mile better. So I'm excited about it, and yeah, thank you.
Representing residents of Miracle Mile area within 5 miles, Ted Leyland, excuse me.
Hello, I started off years ago when I was a student at UOP, and my father-in-law owned a restaurant on the mile. Now, he used to complain about people running across his roof. I didn't know but my wife and I have lived in 5 different homes in the area over the last few years. We love it. Ditto to what was said earlier about the need for innovation here. And I would add one other thing. I think if you look at organizational structures and histories, there are times when opportunities present themselves and you have to take advantage of them. This is, in my opinion, a once-in-a-decades opportunity that we have, and we've got to make the most of it. So I'm here to help serve all of you guys. Thank you.
Resident of Miracle Mile area within 5 miles, Mariella Lamelli.
Regurgitating what Ted just said, I think this is a really great opportunity. It's something that I think anyone who has been here their whole life, like same as me, I've been born and raised here my whole life, and you know, I've driven up and down Miracle Mile probably 90% of the time I leave my house. So I think we've all see the potential in it. I think I'm looking forward to working with the team, coming up with some good recommendations for some good safety improvements, a little facelift, and just get the full potential out of this little mile and make it a good cornerstone for Stockton.
Another resident of Miracle Mile area within 5 miles, Howard Seligman.
Well, I've been here most of my life and now retired. But what I expect from the committee, hopefully, will be an open discussion by all of the members to participate in the various issues that come before it, and hopefully obtain a consensus as to what is best for the Miracle Mile and this community. I'm hopeful that the end result will be to modernize and to make Miracle Mile attractive and inviting for the entire community to attend. It is most important that we consider the revision of streets, sidewalks, landscaping, lighting, and encouraging, where possible, storefront facades. As part of our discussion, and I'm sure I'll bring it up if nobody else will, I'm hopeful that there'll be a discussion as to whether or not it's appropriate to make a distinction within Miracle Mile as to the property that's located between Alpine and Castle versus Castle to Harding Way. And any of you that are familiar with that area, you will see the various different types of uses in both of those areas. I'm also concerned, and hopefully the committee will address safety issues for vehicles, for bicycles, and for pedestrians.
Thank you, Howard.
Am I through?
Your time is up.
For now.
All right, we do have another resident of Miracle Mile area within 5 miles who is not present, and it's Michael Duffy, who serves on the ad hoc work group as well. Business owner with property on Miracle Mile and member of Miracle Mile Improvement District, Kevin Doherty.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Kevin Doherty, and I am a native Stocktonian. I have been involved in the Miracle Mile for probably 40 years as an investor, and I moved my commercial real estate office to the Miracle Mile about 25 years ago, and continue to invest in the Miracle Mile, into buildings, into properties, and be involved in a district that we established 15 years ago and have renewed 3 different times. The Miracle Mile Improvement District initially, and now it's Miracle Mile Community Improvement District. We have a lot of work to do. We've raised our own money for the Miracle Mile District through our own personal assessments as property owners, but it pales in relation to the amount of money that is really required to improve the civil space, the public space. And we have a vision, and we'll talk more about that vision in our discussions, maybe a little bit more this evening too. But I'm very happy to be involved in this once-in-a-generation opportunity. Thank you, Carlos.
Thanks, Kevin. Business owner with no property on Miracle Mile and member of the Miracle Mile Improvement District, Jonathan Hernandez.
Thank you. I really don't have much to say other than to echo what everybody else said, but I'm really excited to be a part of the committee and to be on the Miracle Mile with all these new improvements coming and all the money that's coming. So I just want to say I'm happy to be here and excited to get it started. Thank you.
Miracle Mile business owner who is not part of the Miracle Mile Improvement District, we have Joanne Chappell.
Hello. My husband and I have owned Baskin-Robbins for 52 years. His parents started the store in 1967. We have a vested interest in Miracle Mile. Of concern is the safety and the security of our workers and our guests. The Miracle Mile needs updating of streets, pedestrian crosswalks, new lighting, a lot. So my expectation is that we would have a place for the safety and security of our workers and our guests.
Representing commercial property owner with no business on Miracle Mile, Rex Dott.
My name is Rex Dott. Me and my group have made a substantial investment in Miracle Mile. And one of the reasons we did that is the moment we knew that Carlos got elected as Assemblyman, we know how much passionate he is about Stockton. And we knew before that he would be bringing substantial funds to help Miracle Mile. So what Miracle Mile is and has the potential is to be a magnet for everybody in this area to come with their families in the evening, as long as we can make it prettier and safer and more lighting. Lighting and safety is what is of paramount importance, I feel, towards Miracle Mile. And the Miracle Mile board is working very hard on it. Like Mr. Doherty said, we do not have any funds compared to what Assemblyman Carlos has been able to go and work in Sacramento and get for us. I think we should take full advantage of this huge investment, and I'm very sure all the group will work very hard to make it happen. Thank you very much.
Representing University of the Pacific, as well as our gracious host this evening at University of the Pacific, Jean Callahan.
Hi, so I was just introduced so you know who I am. I'm going to tell you something different than what everybody else has already said. I chose to be here in Stockton and made an active decision to make this my new adopted city and home, and I'm thrilled to be here. My husband and I came here for the opportunity to serve the university, but just as importantly, because of the sense of community and the people that we met in Stockton. So I'm here to roll up my sleeves and get to work and to help the community here and to envision what can be and not worry about what was, but let's talk about what can be for the future and work hard to get there.
Representing Delta College, Cameron Ferens.
Hello, I'm Cameron Ferens. I'm a student at Delta College, and I'm looking forward to serving on this committee. And I think the Miracle Mile has a good potential to be a great place.
We also have representatives from the local farmers market, Jenny Zhu, who is not present with us tonight. We are also seeking a member for the charter that serves in the Stockton Chamber of Commerce, and that position is vacant currently. Also, a member who is not currently with us tonight is the Central Valley Asian American Chamber of Commerce representative, Les Fong, representing developers in Miracle Mile, Kevin Hernandez.
I just want to say I think we're all developers in our own way. I see a lot of people here from the Stockton community. I'm born and raised in Stockton. My name is Kevin Hernandez, and I am thrilled to be here. I also am a lifelong resident. I just want to say a quick story. My manager and I went down to Carlos's office because, as you know, we've had some tragedy, of course, on the Miracle Mile. And when we have meetings and your assemblyman listens and takes an active approach and says, we're going to do something about it, and he did, that's what meant a lot. And not only did it mean a lot to our community, it meant a lot to a parent that I made a promise to when her son got hit by a car. So that are the thing. The safety is one of the important things for me, not just for our community, but for the students at Pacific and for everyone that is going to be coming down to the Miracle Mile and enjoying themselves. We need lighting. We have a lot of things to do, but I'm thrilled to be a part of this community. Thank you.
Representing local service clubs, Diana Lowry.
Good evening. I'm Diana Lowry, and first of all, I have to take a moment to say thank you again to Assemblymember Villaputua. This is an enormous amount of money, and I understand how difficult the challenges were to achieve that. So thank you on behalf of all of us, truly. Yes, I was a city council member for this district, but that's not the important part. The important part is I'm part of 6 generations off the Miracle Mile, 2.5 blocks off the Miracle Mile. And I am a firm believer that the Miracle Mile can truly be an outstanding, successful place in our community and in the valley. And in order for that to happen, it's going to mean that security and safety, both day and night, are achieved. And that's going to have to be critical and foremost, because we are an intergenerational neighborhood, and we have children, seniors, and everyone in between attempting to utilize the mile during the day and at night. And if we achieve that, I know that the economic engine will be a self-starting entity. The economic engine for the Miracle Mile will take care of itself if we do our job with safety and security. Thank you, and thank you all for coming tonight because your input is very important.
Thank you. Representing architects, civil engineers, traffic engineers, or land use and urban planners, Paris Allen.
Hi, I'm Paris Allen. I'm a designer at LDA Partners, an architecture firm that's been on the mile for about 40 years. I also just bought my first home on the mile, so about a year ago. So I'm really excited to be here and excited to represent. I love the community. I, like Jean, chose to be here. And we have so much potential, not just in our infrastructure and in what the mile is right now, but in the community that cares for the mile. And it's really exciting to be here with the opportunity to make the area look as vibrant as the community that stands behind it.
We also have a representative that is architect, civil engineer, traffic engineer, land use, and urban planner who is not present, and that is Carrie Sullivan on the ad hoc work group. And lastly, we have a cyclist who commutes to Miracle Mile, Jerry Enney.
I'm Jerry, lifelong resident here in Stockton. Worked a little bit east of the Miracle Mile and lived west of it, so I've commuted along the mile on bicycle for probably 20 plus years. Got 3 kids that I'm raising here in the city. We live about 2 miles away, but that's a regular destination for us. So I'm hoping that my experience cycling along the mile can add some perspective to make it a safer place for cyclists.
Excellent. Thank you, ad hoc work group members. Thank you for sharing your perspective and expectations for this project and how you will contribute. I would like to invite up Marlon Regisford, who is the Deputy District Director for Division of Planning at Caltrans District 10, to share our charter.
All right, thank you, Joey, and good evening, everyone. I'm very honored. It's an honor and pleasure to be around so many folks that are interested in Miracle Mile and improving it. So I do want to just go over the charter very quickly. We can definitely discuss afterwards, but I'll try and get through this. There's a lot here to go through, so I want to make sure I'm very clear about what the charter entails. So starting off with the background, and I won't read the whole thing. I think you guys can see the slide here, but as you guys know, the area known as the Miracle Mile is located in the center of the city of Stockton in San Joaquin County. It runs from the south side of the Calaveras River at Pacific Avenue, extending north to, south to Harding Way, and from Harding Way, from El Dorado Street to Lincoln Street. And it includes commercial, residential, educational, and recreational land uses. And of course, the idea for the Miracle Mile was the goal of the developer, Joe Placarpo. He modeled the Miracle Mile after the one in Los Angeles on Wilshire Boulevard, which was developed in the early 1920s, 100 years ago. But alongside the residential growth, commercial growth, helping the area gain a reputation for growing prominence and prestige. And so the Miracle Mile is known as a pedestrian-friendly shopping district with a wide variety of specialty shops and services. As you guys may be aware, Assembly Bill 179 of 2022 granted $20 million to the city of Stockton for pedestrian crossing upgrades, public safety improvements, and revitalization of the Miracle Mile in Stockton. And as you guys know, as part of the background, the ad hoc work group, who we just introduced, is comprised of members of the community and the Assembly Member's Office to provide recommendations to the city of Stockton on how to best achieve the safety and the revitalization goals. So that's the background. Going into the purpose of this ad hoc work group is to provide direction to the city of Stockton on how to transform the Miracle Mile into a safe, vibrant, and also economically robust business district that will be a premier Central Valley destination for residents, visitors, students, and also new business enterprises. And so with that, we're going to go into the goals of the Miracle Mile ad hoc work group. And there's 5 main goals that we've identified. The first one is to learn the fundamentals and principles from the experts chosen by the consulting group, VMS, on urban planning, design, land use, and economic growth to ensure that the members of the ad hoc working group are educated on the best data-driven practices and methods, and urban planning methods for economic growth in developing safety improvements along the corridor. The second goal is to solicit recommendations from members of the community at large to provide the city of Stockton with multiple perspectives to inform the design of safety improvements along the Miracle Mile, again, using best data-driven fundamentals and principles provided by our subject matter experts. The third goal is to identify potential upgrades to Miracle Mile, specifically thinking about pedestrian crossings and other safety features. And this will hopefully help the Miracle Mile become more inviting and more accessible, and also, again, using best data-driven fundamentals and principles. The fourth goal is to identify means and methods to improve pedestrian and cyclist safety on the Miracle Mile and encourage the public to frequent the area and businesses using, again, best data-driven fundamentals and principles from subject matter experts. And the fifth goal is to make Miracle Mile pedestrian crossing improvements recommendations to the city of Stockton using the best data, as we mentioned in the other goals, the best data fundamentals, principles provided by subject matter experts. And to expend, this is important, to expend the awarded $20 million on pedestrian crossing upgrades, public safety improvements, and revitalization improvements by January 1st of 2028. So January 1st, 2028 is when the clock goes to zero. So we want to get that done by then. Moving on to the member selection, right? I think we've already talked about this, but I'll just go through it here quickly. We did have a application, we did offer a call for applications for the ad hoc member committee. We did post it online on our Caltrans District 10 website. We also put that on our Assemblyman's office website as well. And we did invite interested parties to apply. And so, of course, with that, we were able to identify 15 members that we thought would be great for the work group. And we went into those categories previously. I'll just run through them very quickly. The Assembly Member's Office representing Miracle Mile, 2 residents on the Miracle Mile, one commercial property owner on the Miracle Mile, 1 business owner with property on the Miracle Mile, and a member of the Improvement District, 1 business member with no property on the mile, but also a member of the Miracle Mile Improvement District, 1 Miracle Mile business owner that was not part of the Improvement District, and then 1 business owner that is also not part of the Improvement District, 1 UOP representative, 1 Delta College representative, 1 Farmers Market representative, 1 Chamber of Commerce representative, 1 Central Valley Asian American Chamber of Commerce representative, 1 developer, 1 representative from local clubs such as Rotary Club, Lions Club, that type of thing, 1 subject matter expert in architecture, civil engineering, traffic engineering, or land use or urban planning, and also 1 cyclist that commutes to the Miracle Mile. So I think we've got most of those representatives on our committee. And as Joey mentioned, I think we still have 1 or 2 vacancies that we are looking to fill. I'll go into quickly the roles and responsibilities. Caltrans is responsible for convening the ad hoc work group. So you will see Caltrans here at virtually every work group meeting. So, Caltrans is also the agency responsible to process the funds transfer agreement from the state to the city of Stockton. That is a responsibility of us. And also going into the roles and responsibilities of the ad hoc work group here as follows: to serve as a member of the Miracle Mile ad hoc work group and advance the collective purpose and the goals of the Miracle Mile work group as outlined in the charter, attending and participating actively in these group meetings, volunteering to serve on subcommittees as needed, and engaging in follow-up actions from meetings. Participating in subcommittee meetings outside of regularly scheduled public meetings such as this one, and to complete specific tasks and share progress with the group as a whole. Also, the Miracle Mile ad hoc work group is tasked to complete these follow-up actions and any agreed upon deadlines, and also to gather, exchange, disseminate information to agencies, associations, or user groups that one represents. And so the ad hoc work group will select a chair from the membership for the duration of the ad hoc work group. Responsibilities for substituting the chair when the chair is not able to present or attend, that is also part of the responsibilities. Now I want to move on to the, let's see, meeting frequency here. Meetings will occur, the work group meetings will occur every 2 weeks, okay? Members will report progress during the next public meeting. Subcommittee meetings may occur as needed, and those meetings will be held in person and in the evenings unless other time is agreed upon by the ad hoc work group. Okay, so and then for the meeting protocol, general public will have a public comment period, and 2 minutes will be given for each member of the public to give comment. And for the ad hoc work group members, there will be a maximum of 3 meetings that the work group members can miss, or else, and if any meetings are to be missed by the work group, they should notify the facilitator at least 24 hours before. And if a member misses 3 meetings, an alternate can be appointed. So just be aware. And we did mention the subcommittee meetings. Lastly, I will mention the amendments. This charter can be reviewed, evaluated, adjusted as needed by consensus or vote by the ad hoc work group. And that concludes the charter. Joey, I'd like to pass it back to you. Appreciate the time.
All right. First things first, we are going to open it up now for public comment. That includes in-person as well as virtual. Just want to acknowledge for those that are participating virtually, we were able to get the comments feature activated or working correctly. So if you are participating virtually, and you may need to refresh your web browser to get the comments feature to show up again. So go ahead and hit refresh, come back in like a second, and then you can add comments, and we'll get to those in a moment. Want to just share that the ad hoc work group has spent some time over the last several weeks reworking the language that was included in the charter to make sure that it really resonated, particularly with the purpose statement and why they are here. Purpose statement is why they are here. So I am going to turn this mic on, and for those of you that would like to add comments for this portion of the agenda, you are welcome to line up along the side rail over here, and we can have you come up to give comments regarding the charter. And if you don't have any comments, that's okay.
Good evening. My name is Mike Ordonia. I live at about 1.5 miles from Miracle Mile down by Legion Park. And with regard to the expenditure of the funds for the project, you indicated that they had to be spent by January 1st, 2028. So I'd like to know, when is the target date for the final recommendations for the ad hoc committee to the city, and what is the city's implementation timeline for expending the funds by making the improvements? My experience with construction is usually the city takes 2 to 2.5 years to create a project and build it. So having to try to expend the funds by January 1st of 2028 seems like a very, very constricted and tight time schedule.
Thank you. Do you want? You can take the mic there. I'll invite Marlon up to respond so you can answer the questions that you have.
Appreciate the question. Turn on. Can you hear me? All right. So in terms of the ad hoc work group, and yes, January 1st, 2028 is the deadline for expenditure of the funds. Yes. And basically, I think the target for the delivery of the ad hoc work group's recommendations to the city is going to be early next year at the very latest. However, I will mention this. As early as the work group can provide recommendations to the city, I think the city will accept that as early as possible. That way, of course, the city will have as much time to go through the project delivery process in a timely manner. So at the end of the day, it really is all dependent on the work group and how long it takes for the work group to decide on what is best, or what's the recommendation for the city. So if that makes sense.
Thank you. Thank you for being the brave person to go first. Any other comments in person? Please come up to the front. If I could ask you to state your name too, and then also you will have 1 minute to share.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sam Sherry. My main thing has just been about the Empire Theater that burned down, what was it, last year? They've been taking that down, but I'm really interested to see what the secondary buildings right next to it are going to be turned into, since the Empire Theater and all the buildings attached to it were taken down. I want to know if that's going to be also taken down or what's happening with that.
Thank you. Is there anyone who would like to respond in the ad hoc work group? Sure. Rex, if you wouldn't mind coming up, and then go ahead and step up to the microphone.
In answer to your question, we run into such a situation with the second building. As you could probably figure, I'm one of the group that owns the building. We are probably now have decided to tear the second building down too. We had initially hoped to save it, but we've been getting so much homeless problem breaking in there, and even going every day to throw them out at night. They're again there. So we decided to tear it all down and then put something that would kind of improve Miracle Mile. Thank you.
Thank you, Rex. Thank you for the second comment. Any other public comments? If you have any, please welcome to line up here, and then we'll pull you up to the front. Just want to check in with Linda to see if we have any comments coming in virtually. No virtual comments as of yet. So just want to reiterate, if you are participating virtually and you still don't see the chat function or the comment function, please go ahead and refresh your web browser if you do have comments that you'd like to share virtually. Please state your name, and you will have 1 minute to share.
My name is Jewel Faye Abraham, and I live on Stanislaus and Aurora Street. And if you put my address in, 805 East Clay Street, you will probably start crying tonight if you drive through that neighborhood. 805 East Clay Street. It is just downright pitiful and incomprehensible. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name.
Good evening, everyone. Carrie McNichol. Luckily, know many of you in this room. Wondering about outreach to the broader community, and if that's a decision of the ad hoc group for any kind of larger scale community outreach events that may take place, as well as just a note for transit consideration. I know there aren't any explicit transit users on the ad hoc committee makeup, but would just encourage us to keep that in mind as we move forward as an important part of the mile as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to respond? Is there any?
Well, Carrie, I'll just say thank you for your comment. The main goal, especially for Caltrans and the Assemblyman's office, is to make sure this is as accessible to the public as possible. We want full engagement, full opportunity for folks in the community and those that are interested in the Miracle Mile to have opportunity to provide public comment and also provide feedback to the committee as well. So we want to make this as accessible as possible. We're going to have this on our website every single meeting, every recording, and we want to make sure that everyone that does not have full ability to make it here to the public meetings at least has a virtual option. And if you have any specific thoughts or ideas that you can share with us, we'd be happy to take them. Thanks.
And this is also a great reminder, if you can't participate in the public meetings or you are watching this recording, to email any comments, questions, or suggestions to stocktonmiraclemile@dot.ca.gov. Go ahead, next person, please state your name, and you will have 1 minute.
Zach Baker, staff writer for the Pacifican. My question is specifically for Mrs. Callahan. First of all, thank you for serving as our representative here at the University of the Pacific. And my question is, do you intend to hold public meetings with the student body? And if so, when might we expect those meetings to be held? Thank you.
Do you want to respond now? You're welcome to come up and respond now, or we can respond later. Go ahead and step up to the mic.
So that is a great idea and a great question, and I welcome the opportunity to do that, because at the end of the day, all of us are here to represent the broader group and to make sure all voices are heard. So let's talk offline and then find some dates and the right forums, because I would think it's more than one discussion.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you. All right, next up, please state your name, and you will have 1 minute.
Hi, I'm Lori Herbst. I live 3 doors down from the Starbucks, so right off the Miracle Mile. And I just want to encourage you to please keep the style of the Miracle Mile the same as it is now. That's part of what makes it special, and all the revisions I've seen on buildings coming up now, they all look like a box, and I don't want us to turn into a box. And part of that is trees. Please don't cut down the trees if you can. Last effort is cutting down trees. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, please step up, state your name, and you'll have 1 minute.
Hi, my name's Alexis. I'm also a Stockton native. I think one of my main questions or comments so far is just to better understand what the grant can be used for and what it can't be used for. I think we can all agree that we want it to not only beautify the city, but actually add value to the community. One issue I notice as a resident in the area, and I'm not sure if this is more of a city issue or a beautification issue, but almost every single night the stoplights are off, they're red blinking, they're not truly on. And so that's something that, whether it's a city issue or it's a Miracle Mile grant program, definitely could be improved upon. I think all the other comments about potholes, lighting, crosswalks, definitely needed, and very good point as far as keeping some of that Art Deco and older style as far as the Miracle Mile project in general. And if we can use some of the grant money to incentivize some of our small businesses to stay in the area, that would be fantastic, especially the few businesses that were lost in past code violation issues.
Perfect timing. Thank you. And please step up, state your name, and you have 1 minute.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jason Laurenti. I'm the manager of one of the restaurants on the Miracle Mile. When I was growing up, my parents always said, many hands make light work, and it's great to see such a dynamic group of 21 people willing to step up to make this happen, and I know it's only going to get better. For me, I have some ideas and suggestions rather than necessarily questions for the committee. What plans are going to be discussed to facilitate more grants and more revenue sources? I heard it was discussed earlier. I hope that's a priority. How do you plan as a committee to create a structure of priority on the projects on the Miracle Mile? Lighting, I think personally would be the first one. What type of communication is there going to be with the city of Stockton to maybe eliminate the Miracle Mile as an emergency thoroughfare, thereby reducing the speed? One of the best things that we implemented about a year ago with lots and lots of communication was getting those lights blinking red, because that helps reduce the speed at night. The last thing, I really, really hope that there's some sort of community liaison with the committee to create some communication for any misinformation or any rumors that get started. There are certain sources out there that make up stuff, and I hope that there's plans to alleviate that.
Thank you. All right, please state your name. and
Hi,
you got
good
1 minute.
evening. I'm Tina Wellesley. I am a business owner off of the Mile on Beverly and Tuxedo. I am the president of the Miracle Mile Community Improvement District. And this is what I hope, not so much for the committee, but for the city of Stockton. We have, as Mr. Doherty alluded to, we have a very small budget, We have a half-time ED. Our board is voluntary. These business owners, when you start to come in and begin this work, they are gonna reach out to us and talk to us about, oh my God, what's going on? Their businesses are gonna be impacted. And I hope that, again, we can be respectful of that. A lot of them, again, coming out of COVID, are not doing very well economically. And again, we really want you folks to communicate with us so that we can communicate with them. And again, we're all on the same page so that we can basically help them embrace this fabulous money that's coming our way, but again, to give them information. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. We do have one comment that's come in virtually. Linda, would you mind bringing that into the room?
Yes, the question was, there was a mention of positions still left to fill on the committee. Are these specific expert positions? What kind?
The vacant position that remains is for the Stockton Chamber of Commerce. We're still seeking a representative from the Stockton Chamber of Commerce. So if anyone is a member of the Stockton Chamber of Commerce or a member that has already applied, we are welcoming any more input. So we're seeking a representative from the Stockton Chamber of Commerce. Awesome, thank you. Thank you for participating virtually, and let's go ahead and have you come up. Please state your name, and you've got 1 minute.
Hi, I'm Pat Crater. I live a couple blocks from the mile, not very far, and I've heard very little mention about the homeless problem that we have. I'm a senior, my husband's a senior, and it's very frightening to walk down the sidewalk and pass a homeless guy and have him punch you in the shoulder. It's a problem, and as the woman, the nice lady from Baskin-Robbins said, you know, she wants her employees to feel safe as well as her customers. So I really hope that that issue is addressed. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments coming in virtually? All right. All right. Come up to the mic, go ahead and state your name, and you've got 1 minute.
How you guys doing? My name's Henry. I'm a loving, fearless, vulnerable leader. I just want to thank you guys all for what you're doing in the diversity in the group, and acknowledge you guys as leaders and all coming together, and what you're going to do with this. I believe it's going to be great, great things. But yes, the security, right? My question is if you guys have something in place for the security, because the one that's there now, I was living on top of Steve Warner, right there at the beginning, at the little tip, right, for about 14 or 15 years. And one of the things that I noticed is the security that is there and in place now, they don't even get out of the vehicle. You know what I mean? They'll just kind of cruise by and, you know, say something or shout something out the window, but they're not really, it doesn't really do anything. Is there something else that you guys have in place or were thinking about or implementing?
Right. Thank you. So, do you have a response or? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Marlon.
So I'd like to restate this because I want to make sure everyone realizes what the Assembly bill states. What is based on the legislation is for the city of Stockton to have the opportunity to provide pedestrian crossing upgrades, public safety improvements, and revitalization of the Miracle Mile. So everything that encompasses those three things are allowable for the committee to consider as a recommendation. Right now, of course, this is the kickoff, so there's lots of opportunity for the committee to consider these things, but I know that these three focus areas, pedestrian crossing upgrades, public safety improvements, and revitalization are the core issues that the committee is going to tackle. So I just want to make sure that everyone's clear about that, and that's part of the AB 179 legislation.
Thank you, Marlon. Any additional comments that have come in, or we will proceed to ad hoc discussion? All right. Thank you to all the public for comments that have come in so far. Just want to acknowledge you've asked a lot of great questions, some we've been able to respond to, and also have given some great ideas for the ad hoc work group to consider, as well as in future public meetings, we'll be able to have additional ideas generated from all of you. So keep them coming. And again, just want to reiterate, this is like a plug. The email address is stocktonmiraclemile@dot.ca.gov. If anything comes up for you, either in person or virtually, who is participating after this public meeting. I am going to set the magic timer. This is my favorite part of the meeting. I'm going to start a clock for 10 minutes. Now we will open discussion to the ad hoc work group for approving the charter. So if anyone has a question, comment from the ad hoc work group regarding the charter, go ahead and raise your hand and we will get a mic to you. Jean.
online, and during the meeting, we had some discussions about the wording for the charter, and I was just going to call to everyone's attention maybe some consistency that we need. We talked about the purpose being to provide direction to the city, but then when we get to the reporting structure section, it says recommendations versus direction. So I'm suggesting that we have some consistency and follow what I think we've already talked about.
Thank you, Jean. So we can make that edit in the charter. And Linda's actually pulled up the charter, so we'll be able to capture that. Any changes that you all may have, just to make sure that it's included. So consistency, capturing the language, direction. Thanks, Jean. Any other comments or questions regarding the charter? Howard? Mike, please.
I just want to make sure that the comments that were made from the public will be part of the minutes that will be disseminated to all of the committee members.
Yes, Howard, thank you. All the minutes, the recording, as well as the minutes are going to be captured. The recording will be on YouTube. The minutes will also be shared on the Caltrans website for Miracle Mile following the proceedings. So give it a couple days and we'll have that posted live as well. So all the comments here, as well as any comments or questions that come up online, will be captured. Thanks, Howard. Harry, you got a comment or question?
Thank you. I just wanted to just sort of make a comment regarding the distinction between recommendation and direction. You want recommendation because if you say direction, you may give direction that might not be something that's biddable by a contractor, okay? So my recommendation is to stick with the term recommendation versus direction. Direction means shall be done. And whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, it means shall be done. We assume that it's going to be good, but it may not be a good directive. So just something to consider. So it's not to slow down the process. When we do issue a competitive procurement, some contractor may say, what cockamamie idea is this? Do you really want us to price this out? So giving us leeway and flexibility and not tying us into a corner would probably be in the best interest of the project, if that makes sense.
Thanks, Harry. So the recommendation is to use recommendation instead of direction for the flexibility that it allows the ad hoc work group to give to not necessarily the city, but to the contractor who would actually be executing the project. Jean, hold on. Sorry, can I get you a mic?
I'm going to choose to disagree. We have Caltrans here for expertise, and other folks who will be here for expertise to help us sort of vet what the opportunities are. If we are working well with the city, which I hope we will have the opportunity to talk to you about some of that language even prior to putting in final directions/recommendations. So I would hope we could address that ahead of time. If this group is going to work as hard as I know they're going to work, I'd like them to have the sense of comfort that they're going to make recommendations and those recommendations are going to be followed.
Any other comments, questions, concerns from the ad hoc work group? Kevin.
I just wanted to pose a caveat between the two. What would be, I just want to know what would be the issue, I guess, with leaving it how our group is thinking we'd like the direction. I agree that our group is going to have recommendations. They're going to be great recommendations from her. Obviously, we're going to not ask for, the balloons in the sky yet. I'm kidding. But I want to know what we're going to, what would be your concern of that? And can we work together? Because I know we're going to work together. We have city staff to do that too, and we're going to be recommending with city staff.
Yeah, so again, I'm going to have Jody to chime in on this as well. It gets to biddability, the question of biddability. When the scopes of work are developed, we can do this either way you want to do it. I'm just basically sharing professional experience and knowledge in terms of having done at least $1 billion worth of construction projects on the government side. It's just a recommendation to you. Obviously, you can do whatever you want to do, but Jody, do you want to add to that?
Sure thing. So Jody L. Massey, Public Works Director. Can you guys hear me okay? All right. So I guess for me, following City Manager Black, I think my concern personally, having done tons of projects, is that right now we're in a very dynamic, escalating costs. You know, we still have material supplies issues due to COVID. So I think this group is going to come together and have tons of great conceptual ideas. And at that point, it's going to be passed over to City of Stockton to administer and deliver the project. It's at that time that we are going to do the actual design. We're going to do the actual environmental clearance and the public outreach plan. It is only at that time that we are going to have refined cost estimates. And so I guess my concern is, in doing projects, we always allow flexibility to say, okay, if we have to start cutting in the priority and in the scheme of the ideas that you guys all come together, what are those items that we peel off the project, or we swap, or we add to make it fit the budget? So that's my concern, is that flexibility, and perhaps we could build that into the charter. But from my perspective, that's what I run against typically, is we have great ideas, and trust me, I want to redo everything, but usually we're constrained with the budget. That's normally what it comes down to.
Over to Kevin, Jordy. And Kevin, actually, can you please stand up? Just so for viewers back home.
So construction is going to be very dynamic. It's going to be fluid. And I hear exactly what you're saying, Jody. So I think that if we don't want to get stuck in semantics, and we don't want to be just a recommendation. We really want to give somewhat of a directive. But that directive it has to have some sensibility and flexibility in it. So I think that we can still indicate that we want to give direction. And as we're giving direction, it's not going to be real simple. It's not going to be one or two words. We're going to lay out, this is what we're directing you to do, and we're going to build in my thought process, the flexibility, so that if you come back and say, we can't design that, or we need to make changes, I fully expect we're going to provide you with that flexibility and give you maybe some suggestion as to what we could back off of, but let you know what our priorities are. So there's going to have to be conversation. And we're not going to give you a directive and say, that's it, you have to do it. You have to bid it that way. There will be flexibility built into it. And I think you brought up a good point, and we'll make sure that that takes place. It may not say that in what the charter indicates, but in practice, we're going to build in flexibility. I want to assure you of that. Thank you.
Mike, Assembly Member.
If I could just add, I mean, there's a reason why you see me on this committee, because most of the times electeds just kind of give a paycheck and they walk away. I have interest in this. It's because of all of us here. We picked this team because it's a very smart, they know what they're doing. Miss Lowry, she's been involved with the mile for many, many years. She started the mile. And that's one reason why she's here too, because it's like, we're gonna rely on all of our expertise. And once we get that together, of course, we're gonna lay out a plan A, plan B, whatever it is, right? But that plan is gonna be what we want here for the mile. And then we give that to the city, right? But it's gonna be for everyone that's here, that it's gonna have a voice and an input, that is all gonna be taken down. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm on this board too, is because I wanna make sure that, like what's mentioned, is that we don't just give, a recommendation and we walk away. No, we're a team. We're part of this. We're gonna make this work. We're gonna make sure that that happens.
All right, end of discussion for our charter. I just want to clarify one thing, that the language of it is recommended that the language of the charter will remain the same, but the spirit of the charter is the flexibility with the bidability. Is that what you were saying, Kevin? The flexibility is with the contracting. Okay.
There's going to be some fluidity to it, and we're going to have conversations with the city before we give them our final instructions.
All right. Just want to check, do we have a motion on the floor to adopt the charter? Motion has been made, second has done. Do we have, by show of hands, all in favor of approving the charter, please raise your hands. It is as stand with direction, but the spirit is the flexibility. The spirit of the charter will include the flexibility. Direction. Show of hands. We have 16 members present. 15 members approve. Any opposed, please raise your hand. And we have 1 abstain. So the motion to adopt the charter passes. I guess I get to hit the, there we go. That's the best part. All right, so first order of business is to electing a chair. So want to see if there are any nominations from the ad hoc members on selecting a chair. Howard, microphone, please.
I move that we nominate my seatmate here, Kevin Doherty, as chair.
All right, Kevin, do you accept the nomination?
I accept the nomination.
Do we have a second? We have a second. Do we have any other nominations on the floor? Can we get a mic to Rex? Rex right here. Anoop, Kevin, can you pass to Rex, please?
I'd like to recommend the lady sitting to my left, Jean Callahan.
We have a second, and we have our both seatmates being nominated. We have Kevin Doherty and Jean Callahan as nominated for chair. Do we have any other nominations? All right, we will allot for 1 minute. Let me make sure. Yes, 1 minute. Did I say 1 minute or 2 minutes? 2 minutes. 2 minutes for each of you to share. As Kevin, you were nominated first. You have the floor for 2 minutes, and we'll get a mic to you. Share expectations or any remarks on serving as chair.
As I indicated earlier, I have been involved in the Miracle Mile for many years, actually for 40 years. And as an investor, as a builder on the Miracle Mile, and working with many businesses. The most important thing that we're going to be experiencing is the fact that we're going to be receiving a significant amount of money from the state, but this $20 million is going to make an impact. It'll be sexy, and everybody's going to ooh and ah, I expect, with the outcome. But the real answer to our needs is sustainability. And what we haven't had and experienced on the Miracle Mile is good maintenance of our public space. We need more money, and we need to figure out how we can build into our formula of developing a safe, aesthetic, and well-maintained Miracle Mile with a good maintenance program that will allow those improvements to be sustainable and long-lived. The brilliancy of what Carlos has done is he's brought the neighborhood, the community, into making decisions for what we're going to do with the money. The state's not making those decisions. The city council's not making them. It's the engaged, collaborative efforts of the community, the stakeholders, the residents, and the neighbors, all of us. We're going to choose how that money's spent, and as part of that choice, we can also determine and build in how we can sustain the Miracle Mile for the next 50 years. So that's my vision for, and I'm also, I'm appreciative of my co-nominee, and I didn't ask to be nominated, but I appreciate being nominated, and I'm happy to be chair of.
Time, Kevin, time. All right. Gene, you have the floor. Do we have a mic? Excellent. You have 2 minutes. And can you please stand? If you can.
Again, thank you for the opportunity to serve my new community. And like Kevin, didn't ask to be nominated. And Kevin and I have worked on other projects together, so I think either way, the committee and the city will be well served. My focus will be on keeping us moving forward. We have an expression in the House that we like to say, having conversations that hear all the perspectives and are well vetted, don't need to be slow. They can still move fast. And I think that's very important that we do that in light of, as we talked about, sort of contracting requirements. I will help make sure the committee is focused on serving the vision that we've just talked about and the mission, and that we have some very clear deadlines set up that we will work to achieve. And that we just move fast and we get it done and we look to the future and don't focus on the past.
Time. All right. Open the floor up for discussion with the ad hoc work group on the nominations. Otherwise, we can motion to move forward with a vote. So if you have any comments or would like to motion, please raise your hand. No comments?
Just really quick, working with both of these guys on different groups, our group can't go wrong with either number one, and we're here to work together as a team. And like I said, this is an excellent group, and we're going to have great leadership all the way through.
Thank you, Kevin. All right. As stated in the charter that was just adopted, it is a simple majority vote to proceed, just as the charter was adopted. We have two nominees. We have Kevin Doherty and Jean Callahan interested in serving for chair. By show of hands, all in favor?
We have a secret ballot.
You would prefer a secret ballot?
Requesting a secret ballot.
Secret ballot from the members or from the public?
The members.
Okay.
They do this twice.
Then can you please, does everyone have a piece of paper in front of them? You should have our reserve sign in front of you, the ad hoc members. That will be elected next. A question that was asked was position of vice chair, and after the chair is selected, then vice chair will be selected. One of the two. So if you could please write your name and we'll go around and collect it. Please write the name of the person that you're selecting for chair. If you need a piece of paper, please raise your hand. All right, of the 16 members present, I have 21 votes in my hand. I'm just kidding. That was a bad joke. All right, so I will read the names out loud. We will record that, and then we'll see who has votes. First vote is for Jean. Next vote, Jean. Next vote, Kevin. I hope someone's keeping score at home. Next vote, Jean. Linda, are you getting this? Yeah. Okay. Next vote, Jean. Next vote, Kevin. Next vote, Kevin. Next vote, Kevin. Some of you have beautiful penmanship. Next vote, Jean. And some of you don't. Next vote, next vote, Kevin. Next vote, Kevin. Next vote, Kevin. Next vote, Jean. Next vote, Jean. Next vote, Kevin. And next vote, Jean. So I think the public may have been keeping track of this vote, but just for sakes, Anoop, can you please give Linda a microphone to share what the vote tally is?
So we have 8 votes for Kevin, 8 votes for Jean.
Awesome.
Oh, Ted has his.
Move to have co-chairs.
Yeah, we have to amend the charter for that. That's totally fine.
Then you amend the charter first, but not now. You can't do it after the vote.
So, so the vote is actually to amend the charter. So we are going to, there's a nomination to amend the charter to have co-chairs. That's what you did. You did make that. Actually, can we get Mike to Ted to make the nomination or make the motion?
There's a motion on the floor to amend the charter to co-chairs.
Yes, I want to make sure that it's recorded so those at home can hear.
Just what she said.
Yeah. Okay, we have a motion to amend the charter to have co-chairs. We have a second. All in favor, show of hands, please. Show of hands if you are in favor of amending the charter to have co-chairs. Sorry, keep it up, please. 16. It unanimously moves to amend the charter to have co-chairs. So do we have a motion on the floor for the chairs now? Rex, motion on for co-chairs? For who would you like to nominate for co-chairs? Okay, do we have a second to nominate Kevin and we have a second to nominate Kevin and Jean for co-chair. Howard, I just want to ask, do we have to have a secret ballot here? No. All right. So, by a raise of hands, how many are in favor of having Kevin and Jean serve as co-chair? All right, the motion passes unanimously that Kevin and Jean are now serving as co-chair. So, these next few slides are irrelevant because we don't have a vice chair. I would like to invite our 2 new co-chairs, Kevin and Jean, and the 2 of you can fight over who would like to introduce the first order of business with our speaker for active transportation. Kevin and Jean, please step to the front.
Good evening again, everyone. I would like to call on Charles Carroll, Caltrans District 10 Active Transportation Portfolio Manager, for sharing the importance, benefits, and reasons of active transportation.
right. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to be here this evening, and thank you as well to the co-chairs, and congratulations on your co-chairing. So, way to go. So, yeah, I'm Charles Carroll with Caltrans District 10. I am the Active Transportation Portfolio Manager, and I'm here today just to share with you just some basics about what active transportation is, what complete streets are, and some possible opportunities and possibilities as far as what could be done to enhance the Miracle Mile, to make it a more inviting place and a safer place for bicyclists and for walkers. Okay? So, what is active transportation? Active transportation, according to the Department of Energy, is human-powered mobility, such as biking, walking, or rolling, okay? So you do the work, not the car, not the engine. Benefits of active transportation, there are many, among which are 7 here. Fewer greenhouse gas emissions, less intensive use of resources in terms of what is needed to produce a bicycle as opposed to a car, regardless of if it's gas combustion or if it's electric. Less noise pollution, health and safety benefits, both public in terms of a public perspective and from a personal perspective. It's pretty well documented in terms of what walking can do in terms of your long-term benefit to your health. Cost-effective alternative to driving. It can cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars a year to own and operate a vehicle. And so being able to have an alternative to walk or to ride a bike can make a big difference, especially for historically underrepresented or disadvantaged communities. 5, can act as a transit multiplier, especially with bicycles, in that they will extend the ability of a transit system to access or to connect to communities. 6, it can benefit property values and small business when such planning is coordinated with urban and regional development. There are plenty of examples throughout the world of how walking and biking can be a benefit to property values and to small business. And of course, 7, it provides a choice. Mode choice matters. Being able to choose how you get from point A to point B is a big deal right now. Having to depend on a car to go everywhere, to get anywhere, is something that we're trying to change the narrative on that, and so this is another big benefit. So briefly, complete streets, it's related to active transportation. It is, just to give you a definition, a transportation facility that is planned, operated, maintained to provide safe mobility for all users, not just cars, including bicyclists, pedestrians, transit riders, and motorists, appropriate to the function and to the context of the facility. Got a couple examples there. So, a few things to consider. One of the big issues we're dealing with today has to do with climate change and with global warming and just the general issue of a warming planet. I'm not going to get into the specifics on this table, but what I'll basically say is there are projections over the next 70 plus years of higher median or higher average daily temperatures. And so this is something we try to be aware of as far as how we do our planning, how we mitigate, so that we can reduce the extent our activities contribute to this ongoing issue of climate change. And building active transportation is one way to accomplish that. There are 3 general things that can be done as far as addressing the issue of heat in particular. So here in the Central Valley, as you know, in the summers it can get quite hot, and this is an ongoing issue of concern with triple-digit temperatures becoming more common than ever. There are 3 general things that you can do. Tree canopies is a possibility. This is something that other cities have done. Paris in particular has gotten a lot of attention for that. Building shade structures. I guess a bit of an unwieldy and maybe flamboyant example, I suppose, is the James Turrell Sky Space at Pomona College down in Southern California. I'm not going to get into detail on that, other than to say that it's mostly an art space, but during the day, it doubles as a way to provide shade for a public plaza on the campus, all right? And if you want to learn more about it, go ahead and Google it, so get some cool images. A third option is the use of cool pavement, right? This is something that can be done. It is possible to reduce the heat that comes off of the street, that is radiated off the street by the pavement that is selected, right? Tokyo had to do this recently for their Summer Olympics. It gets very hot and humid in the summers in Tokyo, and one of the things they did to try to mitigate how that would affect athletes was to install a pavement surface that did a better job of reflecting more heat and less absorbing. So that's a possibility. Getting into, examples, right? So these are some examples of shade structures among the universe of possibilities. These are examples of tree canopies, landscape design, ways to cool off the urban built environment and to help reduce that urban heat island effect. Safety, right? Safety is a key issue of concern that has come up a lot in the ad hoc work group meetings, and it is directly associated to the speed a car travels. This graphic basically indicates that the faster a car travels, the greater the risk of a serious or fatal injury for a pedestrian. So this is something that we hope to address as we go through this process of selecting strategies that can reduce the risk of a crash or of a tragic collision. So some of the other things that can be considered here when it has to do with facilities, when we're talking about bikes, generally there are different types of bike infrastructure that cities can use, right? The most separated and the most protected type of bike facility is often known as a Class 1. It's basically a trail. You see that toward the top of the slide. Class 2 is generally considered to be something that's on the street. There's no physical separation, it's just a striped line. Buffered Class 2 gives you a little bit more separation though, but it's still paint. Class 3 is something you would only do in a street with low volumes and low speeds. Certainly on the state highway system, we rarely, if at all, have any kind of Class 3 facility on any kind of state highway. So it's only appropriate for a local context. Class 4 is a separated, protected facility that runs adjacent to or within a street's right-of-way. An example of that is this item here. This is from Oakland. There may be conversations about how to accommodate for parking. A Class 4 could be a way to make that happen. So you could use the parallel parking or the on-street parking of the vehicles to provide that protection and to provide that buffer for bicyclists. And other cities have already looked into doing this. So bike parking, obviously, if we're gonna, bicyclists gotta have a place to put their bikes. Something to consider is you wanna look at something that provides parking for the whole bike, not just for one wheel. And that just has to do with preventing theft. So it is, it's something, it's something that people are gonna bring up. So there are designs that work better than others to lower the risk of that. Bike boxes. This is meant to give bicyclists greater visibility and greater safety when crossing an intersection. It is a space they can use specifically to wait till the signal changes, and then when it does, they can get the go-ahead ahead of the cars. And again, this is just another way to address safety and to reduce the risk of a collision or a crash. Pedestrian elements. So something to keep inside, to consider is that when we're talking about what can be done to enhance the pedestrian access of any street, one thing, of course, is widening sidewalks. That's one thing that other cities have done. This is just a basic graphic that shows what, in general, the different parts of a wide sidewalk are. And to some extent, Some of that already exists in the Miracle Mile. So south of Tuxedo, we already see that. I guess one of the questions that could come up is to what extent does that get extended or enhanced? And that is something that the community can make a decision on. So crossing islands, this is another way to enhance safety. It gives pedestrians a refuge, a place to wait when they're between vehicular lanes. And in particular, we want to try to go after something that is angled, okay? So when the car is approaching, the driver of the vehicle will see the pedestrian approaching as well. Both parties will be able to see each other, and that will reduce the risk of somebody unknowingly stepping out into the street and putting themselves in harm's way. And, you know, they're often 90-degree angle, or they could be 45-degree angle. This is a curb bulb out. This is an option where you narrow the width of the street and you give more space to the pedestrians. And the reason why that's being done is it slows cars down. There is a relationship between the number of lanes and the width of the lanes and how fast the vehicles are going to drive. Bulb outs is a way to slow them down. And it is a way to give more space to the pedestrian. Lighting, there's been a lot of conversation about lighting. Other cities have pursued that opportunity to install lighting, and that is something that could happen depending on what the community wants to do. It is a way to enhance safety and visibility. Something to consider is enhancing the visibility of crosswalks. It is a possibility that enhanced lighting could be installed over them to enhance the visibility of pedestrians. High visibility crosswalks. This is a relatively low cost way to go after improving the visibility and safety of pedestrians, right? The simple 2-barred crosswalk is pretty common, but certainly we want to try to go after ways to make them more visible. Ladder crosswalks, piano crosswalks are a couple of ideas. Caltrans is already working on trying to do those things with its highways, and it's a low-cost measure to improve the safety of the street. Something else to think about are raised crosswalks. So this is a situation where you have the crosswalk at the level of the sidewalk, and generally there's a way to do it where you adjust the slope so that the vehicle has to go up just a little bit, and then it can go back down again. Because there's nothing like physics to slow down a car. So I'm just saying. So, I mean, of course, there are speed bumps, but this is an adaptation. And it's already in use in different parts of California. You'll find this on college campuses. UC Irvine already has this. Caltrans already did an install on this for US 101 for an on-ramp, okay? And it is a proven method to slow the car down. So one more thing, just one last topic before I wrap up, and that has to do with the possibility of lane narrowing or road diets. And basically what this is, you take conventional lanes that exist now, and depending on what the community wants to do or what the ad hoc work group wants to do, exploring the opportunities that are out there, you could reduce a lane or take a lane away. This opens up more space for a possible Class 4 bike lane or for more sidewalk width. This is something that can be done to ensure that the priority is on people who are walking and biking rather than the car. And this is just another basic example. This is a very common style of lane reduction that we're seeing often. Taking a classic 4-lane conventional highway road or street, and what could be done is installing a center turn lane and taking a lane away in each direction, and then by doing that, you make that opportunity available to develop a bike lane. It could be a buffered Class 2 bike lane, or it could be a Class 4 bike lane. But this is something that it's quite common as far as what cities and counties have done to improve or enhance a street so that it's all users, accessible for all users rather than just for driving. And that is it. That is all I have. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Charles. Well done. We will be holding a work group session or multiple in order to learn more about urban planning and standards so that we're better informed on our planning process and any decisions that we ultimately will make. Do we want to go ahead and move on to public comment?
You may want to take Q&A for the presentation.
Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and see what questions any of the audience has relative to the presentation that Charles just made. Anybody interested in asking questions?
Particularly the ad hoc work group. If you have, Kevin, question here, if we can get.
I don't think I need a microphone.
The mic is actually for the people that are participating virtually. It's okay.
No question, but this is when the important conversations come up, and we all were looking and discussing, and we're looking at these pictures, and they're great, and we're like, hey, that would go great on this area, and then we go, well, Jody's right behind us. So these are the discussions that we're going to be having with the city. That's very important, and those are the promises that we've made, and those are the discussions and the important things the important decisions that we need to make and communicate with our city, because we can do these things, but we have to work with our city in order to make sure that these are the things that we would like for safety and to increase crosswalk and lighting, and those are the things that we're talking about. All the things that the neighbors have been asking. So we have your back, and we will absolutely be your voice.
Any other questions or comments from the ad hoc work group regarding the presentation?
Thank you. My comment was simply that as we move forward as an ad hoc group, and certainly as Jody participates in, thank you. I was saying that as we move forward as an ad hoc group, I would like to hear and have input from police and fire and safety, because they're a critical element of the thoroughfare. And so, yes, we have Jody here, but I think one of the things that you would probably say is this group needs to hear from police and fire as we move forward in that direction.
Any other questions, comments from the ad hoc?
So I've got a question.
Microphone, please.
So what's the thought process, Giuseppe, in sitting down with the city? Because undoubtedly the city has done some planning already relative to intentions for making improvements to the Miracle Mile and crosswalks. And then other departments also can weigh in, but is it appropriate to ask you now, Jody, about some thought processes and when we might be able to schedule a meeting with you to learn more about what the city's thinking? So, to the extent that we can line up with what our thoughts are, along with what the city's already thinking.
Joe, you want to just run? All right, let's get a mic. There we go.
Absolutely. So I think we're here along for the ride. And so I think it's just going to be a continuous process of being engaged. And we're invested just as much as you all. Again, I'm a Stockton native, class of 2003, University of the Pacific, School of Engineering. So this is near and dear to me, as well as City Manager Black. So I think it's just a continuous process of engagement. And I'll be the reality check and liaison to say, like, hey, this is my spin, but of course, this is your project, so.
So we probably will want to put something on our schedule here for the near future to have a meeting with the city, with Jody and her group.
And
Okay.
the rest of the city stakeholders, I agree.
All right, we will make note to
Thanks,
have a
Jody.
scheduled meeting. Any other questions from the ad hoc work group? Rex? Mike to what? Rex, please.
I also think it's very important for the ad hoc group and the city and everybody to keep the Miracle Mile Improvement District director and the president in the loop, because after we spend our money, they are the ones who are going to be managing what Miracle Mile is and how to move forward and what is works or not. I think it's very important to get their input when we're getting the city's input to is what exactly would work and what they would like. Thank you.
Thanks, Rex.
Charles, those were wonderful ideas that really sort of get our mind thinking about some of the possibilities. What I didn't see were things there, closing the street, making it just one way during certain times of day. Just wondering if those are sort of, I think we need to think as out of the box as possible so that we continue to sort of imagine what it can be.
Can you hear me? Thank you for the question. That is something that that is a possibility as far as temporary street closures, or to facilitate a festival. Other communities have done like even ciclavia or bike-related events, or being able to close off a street to a festival. That's a possibility as well. I mean, it depends on what the community is interested in doing and what they want to support. But yeah, that's another idea out there to enhance active transportation and to make the street a friendlier environment for people walking or for people biking.
Just to clarify, Howard's asking if the committee can have a copy of the presentation. Yes, the committee can have a copy of the presentation.
I have a question for Charles. I'm sure you came to visit us, so you drove by Miracle Mile and saw the width of it. Is there any of the bicycle classifications that maybe you think maybe you could loosely recommend, that maybe whether they fit or not, like maybe more particularly Class C and Class 3 and Class 4?
Thank you for the question. To provide an answer, I think preliminarily, and this is something that there'll be further conversation on, and what specific solution that comes out of that depends on what the community wants to do. But based on what we're seeing there now, just to be clear, as far as I'm aware, Pacific Avenue right now it doesn't have a designated bike facility. I think what it is, it's bike accessible, okay? Which of course, because bicyclists have legal rights to the road just as much as anybody else does, and I think that's an important thing to clarify. But at the same time, if we wanted to provide more protection and more separation for bicyclists, there may be opportunities to go after something like possibly a buffered Class 2 or even possibly a Class 4. And again, I know that parking can be a concern, and small businesses often have concerns about ensuring that their customers have places to park. One of the interesting things about a Class 4, and the reason I showed the slide, is that there may be some opportunity there to sort of collaborate and try to make the best of both worlds, because that's what the Class 4 can do. It's what other cities have implemented. But yeah, probably a Class 4 or buffered Class 2 may be in those realm of possibilities.
Thank you, Charles.
We're going to move now if there were any public comments in response to the presentation.
So if I could, for public comments, similar to comments earlier, if you can form a line over along the wall, we will have you come up. For public comments this time also includes 2 minutes. I think last time it was 1 minute. You get an extra minute now. Hey, get excited. You have a lot more time to breathe. So 2 minutes, we'll have you come up to the microphone. We'll form the line over here. Let's get 1 or 2 comments here, and then we will go virtually to hear any of the comments that have been coming in. So go ahead.
Mine's really quick.
And please state your name, sorry.
Hi, Tina Wellesley, again, president of the MMCID. And this is for Harry and for Jody. There were monies that were allocated by the city of Stockton a couple years back for some projects, some parking lots, resurfacing, and a bump out at the Ave. Will these monies, or these projects, at least the parking lots in the interim as the ad hoc's working, will they be underway? And perhaps with that $300,000 for the bump out, would that go into the kitty for this group also to consider as their funds?
Do you have? We'll bring a mic to you. Yep, no.
Great question. So first, let's address the what we call our RFB. It's the rectangular rapid flashing beacon. It's going to go in front of the Ave at that intersection, and it's a temporary bump out. So what we did is we had a larger project that allocated $800,000. We're spending a lot less because what we don't want to do is install the full complement of improvements, knowing well that this project's gonna come through and potentially wipe it out. So we wanna minimize that throwaway. We don't wanna just spend money knowing that this is gonna come behind a year or so later. So we are still proceeding with that project, just keeping it to the bare bones, the rapid flashing beacons, the high visibility crosswalk, and what I'm gonna refer to as like a temporary bump out. The project was approved by City Council maybe 2 months ago. We're scheduled to start construction and have it completed by the end of this calendar year. So that's still proceeding. Separately, we have a couple of parking lot resurfacing projects. Those are still going to proceed as well. It should not interfere with this project at all. Those will happen in parallel with this greater $20 million project.
All right, go ahead. Please state your name, and you've got 2 minutes.
Yeah, Zach Baker again. My question is for Charles. You spoke a little bit about lane narrowing and also speed bumps or like raised crosswalks. I was wondering if you could speak to the benefits of slowing down vehicles on streets that are mainly for pedestrian and business services, and the ways that narrowing lanes does that on streets like this. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. What I'll say to that is there is plenty of research that shows that there is a correlation between, and this was mentioned earlier, but the wider the lane is and the more lanes you have on a street, generally the faster the cars are going to go. So the immediate benefit to doing a lane reduction would be, I mean, again, if we're trying to lower the level of traffic stress for pedestrians and for bicyclists, and if we're trying to enhance the safety of a corridor, a lane reduction can be an effective strategy. So that is one way to go about it. And of course, the slower the vehicles are, the more time the driver will have to react if someone does jump out into the street. And I'm standing over here, I don't know why, but okay, I'll stand here. But it is possible that when you make that decision, it gives everybody more time to think about what's going on and to see what's going on in front of them. Because the faster you go, the more narrow your field of view becomes as a driver. And so it becomes much harder to see anything that's coming at you from the side and to react in time. So that is another benefit of making sure that if we're able to get the cars to go slower, that has a proven safety benefit for active transportation users. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we proceed with in-person public comments, want to address let's get maybe 2 comments in virtually, if there's any comments coming in.
I have 2 here. Why is there a lack of African American representation on the committee? This is not a true representation of the patrons who spend money on the Miracle Mile.
Does anyone want to address that? There is a vacancy for the Stockton Chamber of Commerce that we could have additional representation for African Americans, as well as African Americans participating in person as well as virtually, as well as any other demographic that is not represented on the Miracle Mile Ad Hoc Work Group. Want to make sure that all members of the community are represented in the public meetings. All people at the public meetings have equal opportunity and opportunity to share and invite. Maybe we'll have an opportunity to seek and fill that vacant seat to have representation. Appreciate the acknowledgement and awareness that was brought forth virtually to have representation of African Americans on our ad hoc work group, and also want to make sure that we get that representation captured virtually as well as in-person public meetings.
And the second is there a consideration to improve lighting to key streets that lead into the Miracle Mile to improve accessibility? Streets that come to mind: North and South Tuxedo, Central, Castle Street, and Walnut Street.
Do you want a mic? Sure.
Well, the short answer is yes, that is definitely something that is available for the committee to consider as a recommendation. So there's nothing precluding that from being considered for the ad hoc committee.
Thank you. Let's proceed with in-person comments. Please state your name and you will have 2 minutes.
I got 2 minutes now, so you're getting the full spiel. Good evening, my name's Carrie McNichol. I am a homeowner just off the Miracle Mile. I worked for many, many years on the Miracle Mile. I met my now husband while bartending on the Miracle Mile. And I also serve as a representative for San Joaquin County on the District 10 Bike Ped Advisory Committee, and until very recently was the board president of the San Joaquin Bike Coalition for years and years and years. I am a transportation planner with my little spare time that I do as my day job, and am really excited to see this moving forward. I wanted to call the group's attention to some of the previous planning efforts that have been done, just to give credit to the city and the community that participated in those. One was the comprehensive bicycle master plan that was completed around 2017, which did look at the Miracle Mile and Pacific as a whole and identify the need for more bike and pedestrian connectivity on that. There's also a lot of ongoing safety planning work. And I'll just say, as a community member, managing speed and improving comfort for users is critical. Just like what we were hearing in Charles' presentation, just like what many of us have unfortunately experienced with tragedies on the street over the last several years. 12 crashes involving pedestrians in the last 6 years. I looked the data up before I came. That's a lot for such a short span of a street. So I am heartened by this work moving forward. I will be here along the way. If you have a vacancy, that I'm not part of the chamber, unfortunately. No. But appreciate you guys being here. And I'm looking forward to seeing the creative solutions that this group comes up with. So thank you again all for your service.
You didn't use the full 2 minutes.
I know. I have one on the table. I'm saving it for next time.
All right. We'll take the next in person and then we'll go to virtual comments. Please state your name and you've got 2 minutes. I won't, I'll wait.
My name is Michael Ordonia, and I was wondering if, in consideration for revamping Pacific, if the city is considering installing rotors at various points along Pacific as a means to reduce the speed of the traffic going through Pacific. This has been implemented in other parts of the city, notably on Minor Avenue in downtown and other areas. Also, I'd like to know if in conjunction with the redevelopment or renovation of Pacific, if there's going to be a traffic study done on the adjacent streets to determine what amount of traffic is coming into Pacific and what amount of traffic is leaving from Pacific going to the adjacent neighborhoods. If there are significant changes to the physical structure of Pacific, this may inordinately affect the neighborhood traffic patterns around there and cause disruption for those people living in those areas. Mr. Carroll has expertly pointed out this thing called a complete street idea. And as I counted through these things, there's 12 items that he presented for the ad hoc committee's consideration. And I just want to point out that each of these comes with a price tag. And it's going to be incumbent, I think, upon the ad hoc committee to sift through these and figure out with the city, how much is this going to cost? How much is that going to cost? What's the time frame for implementing this? And what's the time frame for implementing that? And if we implement two different diametrically opposed ideas, is that going to confuse the time frame and mess up the payment scheduling? So there are a number of things that the committee is going to have to go through as part of their deliberations to figure out what comes first, what comes second, what comes third. All over this overarching idea that's, as stated in the legislation, pedestrian crossing upgrade first.
Thank you. Perfect timing. Any responses to the questions that were posed? Yeah, all right.
Thank you. Thank you for that comment. I'll provide a bit of a response. If I can get this mic to, and I'm going to stand here this time, okay? All right, there we go. This works better. Thanks, Skip. Okay, so I can't speak for the city, of course, but you bring up some good points, right? I mean, and these are all relevant items to consider as we go through the planning process. And the ad hoc work group and the committee will have a conversation about what can be done vis-a-vis the costs and what the benefits are. So there's a cost-benefit component that will require a lot of thought and a lot of conversation. But I think what you were talking about earlier, I think you mentioned rotaries. I think that's, I think you were talking about roundabouts. And of course, you know, the items that I presented in the slides are just a few possibilities. There are just a few things that could be done. Whether or not any of that is done, that depends on you. That depends on the community, and it depends on what you're interested in doing. And that's where the decision is going to be made. And we here at Caltrans, we will do what we can to provide technical expertise to the extent that we can, so that when decisions are made in the future, you'll feel good about those decisions and confident about those decisions. So a roundabout is just another possibility, right? And it has its advantages in terms of slowing cars down, and it has its advantages in terms of reducing the risk of a crash or a collision or the severity thereof. But yeah, that's another possibility if the community is interested in it. But of course, you'd want to have a conversation about what that means in terms of costs, what that means in terms of right-of-way acquisition. That can be an issue when it comes to roundabouts. But basically, yeah, that's the response I can give to you at this time. But thank you for those comments.
Thanks, Charles. We're going to take a couple virtual comments, and then we'll come back to in-person comments. Linda, what's coming in?
I have 2 questions and a comment. The 2 questions are, can we implement license plate readers on the strategic areas of the mile to help with public safety? The second question is funding for broader on-site security personnel available to the mile as part of this project?
And thank you for the question. And I don't know that this was brought up or considered beforehand, but I will note that in terms of the license plate readers, I'm not sure that that's within the spirit of the legislation, but I know that public safety is part of the spirit of the legislation. So I want the committee to consider this particular question, because that's something that is open for consideration. However, that is not directly impacting the roadway itself, but it's an enforcement. And so it will be up to the committee to determine if that's outside of the purview of this ad hoc committee. But generally speaking, that's not something that we originally had considered as something that would be part of the Miracle Mile improvement. That makes sense.
What was the second question?
And the second question is funding for broader on-site security personnel available to the mile as part of this project?
Security features that enhance safety is what we would like for the committee to consider. But if it's directly hiring people in terms of hiring security, I think that's a little bit separate from what the goals, the spirit is of the ad hoc committee. So again, that's something that the committee needs to consider. But at the same time, I don't think, at least from Caltrans' perspective, that really was the general spirit of what was trying to be considered as part of the legislation.
Thank you. And the last thing is just a comment. I want to echo a prior comment on the style of the Miracle Mile. It's critical to me as a resident of the mile to preserve the architectural style, trees, and landscaping that makes this area special. Thank you.
Thanks, Linda, and thank you for those that are participating virtually and providing comments. Let's go ahead and resume comments in person. Marlon broke the microphone, so we'll just hand it off. And if you can state your name, and you have 2 minutes.
Hi, my name's Alexis. A couple comments I had is I'm wondering if funds can be used to reinforce the storefronts, whether it's the glass or making some kind of shutter to bring down when the businesses are closed. I know as a resident of the area, when I do a morning walk or evening walk, and I see that residual glass, I know what happened earlier in that day, and that makes both myself and my tenants feel unsafe in the area. So something that I think could be a good use of funds. Another thing that I think is on some of our minds is the Empire block. I know that's not specific to this specific grant money. However, I'm wondering if we can have some funds set aside for for whatever may happen at that area to make sure that it is still within the spirit of our goals for Miracle Mile and make sure that it is not in the goals of just any commercial goals.
Thank you. Any other public comments in person or virtually? Anything else virtually? All right. I just want to reiterate, and we'll say this multiple times tonight, that our next public meeting is December 6th, and there will be significant time for public comments at that time. We will be generating ideas at that time, and so invite the public to come prepared to share ideas, additional ideas. You've done a great job of sharing some tonight. December 6th is the next public meeting that want to make sure that everyone virtually as well as in person know that, so you can come prepared with additional ideas to support and share with the ad hoc work group. It will take place here, and also we'll be putting out press releases and news announcements on social media, just confirming all the information for the next public meeting on December 6th. With that said, we will close our public comment period, and I will hand the floor back over to our co-chairs for next steps and closing remarks.
Well, I'd like to introduce our final speaker. We'd like to ask the Assemblyman just to sort of help close today. We've heard a lot of great things, but most importantly, hope you heard repeatedly how much we appreciate all the work you've done on behalf of the city and Miracle Mile.
Well, first of all, I just want to congratulate our co-chairs. And if I can have our ad hoc committee come down as I'm speaking, please, or our team come down really quick. I'm going to reiterate that the first public meeting, we had some really good conversations, and there's a lot of work ahead of us, a lot of challenges ahead of us, but I know this team is gonna work extremely hard, and with that I was able to secure, and it's great to hear what other folks were saying today. They were talking about security. There was a lot said, so I want to say you guys are being heard. This additional funds that we're going to announce right now, this goes towards including public safety, maintenance, and we have a lot of different issues too. And I know one thing that I've been listening to folks, and that is parking. How are we going to deal with parking? So this is just another ask additional to the 20 million. So this goes to the Miracle Mile. If you guys can help me here. There you go. There you go. I'll give it to you guys. Say that. So additional funds on top of the 20 million is $3.1 million.
All right, as we're taking final pictures, if I can ask for our co-chairs to make a motion to adjourn the meeting, and then actually ask all of the members in the room to come to the front for a group photo, because you are part of the city of Stockton and this is your money as well. So let's adjourn the meeting. So motion from the co-chairs.
Motion to close the meeting. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay. All right. Thank you for participating in our first public meeting for the Miracle Mile Ad Hoc Work Group. And if all community members would mind stepping forward, you are a part of this community and this is your money. So please step forward so we can take a group photo of everyone in the room.
Hi, welcome to Stockton.
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 Konnichiwa. Welcome to Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton. Welcome to Stockton. Welcome to Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton.
Bienvenidos a Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton.
Mabuhay. Welcome to Stockton.
안녕하세요. Welcome to Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton.
Chào mừng bạn đến với Stockton.
Welcome to Stockton.
Welcome.